Before we cross into the unknown, leave a hello in the comments. Even the smallest signal can ripple across galaxies, guiding fellow wanderers to this tale. Let me know you're out there. A voice among the stars, listening with me beyond the veil. Engines roared as the Zaurin Imperial Vanguard broke into Sector 93. Admiral Velcor stood at the viewport, crystalline eyes reflecting the swirl of nebula gas. The system appeared uninhabited. No beacons, no comms. Clean. Yet his instincts flared. Something was wrong. Their orders were clear. Map, claim, purge resistance. He signaled the forward probe swarms. Deploy scouts. Sweep the asteroid belts. Anything breathes. We burn it. Silence. Then a ripple. A scout frigate vanished from screens. No explosion, no signal. Just gone. Velcor turned to his second. Mark this. We are not alone. An hour later, wreckage drifted into view. Charred metal. Not Zaurin design. Not old. Human. Not the soft kind from Alliance archives. This hull was reinforced with irregular alloys, pulse-fused ceramics, and heat-diffused armor. Savage. Improvised. Effective. Velcor's expression tightened. Who builds like this? Colonists, perhaps, his second offered. No, Velcor muttered. Warriors. He turned to the command node. Deploy drones. I want every crater, every moon scanned. In the black beyond the sensors, shadowed shapes drifted between the rocks. Watching, calculating, and preparing. Commander Thalos piloted the Shadowlance through the asteroid field, its plasma tethers absorbing micrometeors. The Zaurin fleet was days behind, but this was the source of the signal, a mining colony carved into a rogue rock. No registry, no lights, but alive. He hailed them, static. Then, words in coarse Terran dialect. Turn around, alien, you're trespassing. He smiled coldly. Ignorance, we offer an empire, they bark threats. Thalos armed the rail cannons. The rock split open. Out poured a swarm of drones, human-made but not primitive. Sleek, modular, adaptive. Within seconds, 3 of his escorts were gone, stripped to sparking cores. EMP pulse, he shouted. Too late. His nav system flickered, then crashed. Retreat! A rail spike punched through his hull. He gasped, blood misting the cabin. As the Shadowlance tumbled into darkness, his last thought wasn't of death. It was a confusion. They were ready for us. As Commander Naira's Corvette Ashen Wake burst from Titan Fold, trailing the black scars of a near-miss ambush, she slammed her fist into the console. They're here, Zaurin scouts. Her crew, mostly born on rogue moons, tensed. No panic. Just that cold readiness. Naira opened the secure channel. This is Commander Naira. Send message shard. Contact made. Phase shift now. Encrypt level 9. A tech raised a brow. Phase shift? Naira nodded grimly. Sector 93 is no longer silent. She drifted the ship into a dense ring, magnetic plating absorbing the asteroid dust. The Zaurin would look for colonies, bases, armies. They wouldn't expect nests. Hidden command cores buried in moons. Artillery arrays camouflaged as mining rigs. Human-born AIs that don't trust even their creators. Activate proxy fleet, she ordered. Let them chase ghosts. Nearby, an ancient orbital mirror turned, its reflection casting the illusion of emptiness. Nira's voice dropped to a whisper. Wake the deep bunkers. The dragons sleep no longer. The chamber pulsed with red light as Empress Zaira viewed the hologram, a static-washed fragment from the Shadowlance. Then silence. 3 ships lost. No wreckage recovered, no escape signals, no witnesses. Her voice was ice. The high strategos bowed. A trap, perhaps. Unregistered human militias. They erased Zaurin ships in minutes, she snapped. No militia has that power. She turned, robes sweeping the floor like solar flares. I want a conquest fleet, not a patrol. A fleet. The chamber emptied. Zaira stared into the void beyond the citadel's skylight. She remembered the old stories, of the Terrans who fled when Earth burned, of the rogue colonies that went dark, severing ties with all others. Whispers said they survived in extremes. She had dismissed them as ghost tales. Now? Sector 93 may not be lost, she murmured, but it is occupied. She raised a single-gloved hand. Prepare the Reaper class. If they want fire, we'll bring a sun. Captain Darren Voss adjusted the alignment of his exo-rig. Beneath him, the belt rumbled. The comms crackled with encrypted signals. Target en route, mask heat signature, wait for the mark. Zaurin cruisers were entering the belt, bold and blind. Rookie mistake. Voss tapped his visor and the kill zone flared to life. Hidden mines, adaptive cloaks, and railgun nests buried beneath drifting rocks. Patience, he breathed. Let them feel safe. Then the signal came. Burn them. Rocks exploded. Kinetic mines tore through the lead ship's ventral plates. Plasma spears followed, slicing decks open. Zaurin's screams filled the intercept channel. A second cruiser fired wildly, hitting nothing. Voss launched, suit thrusters flaring blue. He landed hard on the cruiser's hull, magnetic boots locking down. With a grim grin, he drove a fusion charge into its core junction and leapt away. Behind him, the cruiser blossomed into a dying sun. Sector 93's closed, he growled. Tell your Empress, as Admiral Velkor's flagship, Obsidian Crown, emerged from the hyperfold. The asteroid belt was aflame, wreckage tumbling in slow arcs. He surveyed the carnage. A fleet of ghosts did this? No heat trails, no warp signs, nothing conventional. Velkor turned to the war table. Then it wasn't conventional. He tapped the belt's scan overlay. This is cover, strategic, intentional. These humans didn't stumble onto warfare. They were forged in it. Shall we retaliate? Velkor sneered. We already did, and they're still standing. Deeper scans revealed something worse. The fragments of Zaurin cruisers showed surgical strikes. Internal reactors disabled, crews vaporized, hulls harvested. Harvested. Velkor's knuckles tightened on the console. They're reclaiming tech, studying us. A message pinged, a distorted voice on loop. Turn back. This is not your empire. His eyes narrowed. Send a shard to the Empress. Sector 93 requires full theater clearance. He turned away, whispering to no one. And God's help us if this is just their warning shot. Commander Naira floated in 0G beside a shattered relay satellite. Her suit shimmered, adaptive mesh cloaking her movements. Around her, the ancient orbital mirror spun silently, its outdated solar sails long repurposed into signal scramblers. Zaurin, command ships in system, her tech murmured. Naira aligned her scope through the fractured mirror. Refracted images of the obsidian crown shimmered like ghosts. Time to light the torch, she whispered. From deep beneath an ice moon, a beam lanced upward, silent, unseen, skipping along mirror arrays like light through glass. The crown's shields dimmed. Then the second beam struck. Electrostatic interference danced across the hull. Comms jammed. Scans blinked to 0. The Zaurin fleet was blind. Inside her suit, Nira grinned. That's your sky now. Retreat, her tech asked. No, she replied, drifting back into the black. They need to learn what it means to fight shadows. In the command sanctuary beneath Hollow Moon, Marshal Kale paced the obsidian floor. The AI core thrummed, a half-sentient matrix bred from old Earth code and alien symbiotes. It pulsed like a heart. They're probing deeper, Kale said aloud. The AI responded, voice harmonic and raw. Zaurin protocol decoded. Fleet routing is vulnerable. Then bleed them. Kale inserted the shard, an encoded virus. Thousands of Zaurin relays pinged false data. Phantom fleets, false coordinates, echo signatures of ships that didn't exist. Admiral Velkor's armada turned on shadows, chasing fleets that looped endlessly around rogue moons. Kale watched from a chair of metal and bone. "These aren't the first tyrants we've burned." The AI replied, "They will not be the last." He nodded. "But let's make sure they remember us." Sub-Commander Jalik descended into the deep rift beneath Korthan Cradle, a jagged gorge where heat signatures had vanished. What he found defied every Zaurin protocol. A cavern biome, alive and breathing. The walls pulsed with flesh-metal hybrid growths. Old Terran tech fused with organic matter. Drones shaped from marrow and steel. At its heart, a living forge, the core mother. "She's building ships," Jalik gasped. "No engines, no welds, just growth." A tendril coiled toward him. It didn't attack. It read to him. His suit's systems scrambled. Memory cores dissolved. Armor softened. "Retreat! Now!" he screamed, stumbling back. The last image his helmet captured before implosion. A cruiser, half-grown, shaped like a serpent, cloaked in bone plate. Back aboard the Zaurin vessel, corrupted data spread like wildfire. They hadn't found a base. They had awakened an evolution. Above a dead world, Zaurin drones intercepted a signal buried in ancient Terran code. It pulsed in intervals, precise and repeating. Velkor analyzed it, expecting desperation. Instead, he found a warning. A message wrapped in an old Earth tongue, decoded after hours of parsing. "To the stars that think themselves gods. We are not your children. We are the storm you ignored." Velkor recoiled. "Is this a war declaration?" The message continued. "We left Earth not to escape. We are left to outgrow. You chase territory. We build worlds. You burn. We evolve." Velkor slammed the terminal shut. "Trace it." But there was no origin, no emitter, just space and echoes of fury. Behind him, a junior officer whispered, shaken, "Sir, this wasn't sent recently." Velkor turned. It was sent 200 years ago. The Zaurin cruiser Vraxur drifted into a derelict field, hundreds of ships frozen in orbit around a dead star. Not Zaurin, not catalogued. Some were alien. Most were human. Captain Cyrell frowned. "How is this not on record?" Her science officer answered, eyes wide. "There's no beacon, no emissions. It's a graveyard." A transmission crackled through static. "This is Sovereign Captain Elias Rune, year 2430. If you're hearing this, Sector 93 has fallen, and we held the line." Cyrell scanned deeper. The wrecks showed battle scars, bladed hulls, fused decks, melted command cores. No survivors, but no rot either. Something had preserved them. Suddenly, her sensor tech gasped. "We're being scanned. Biofrequency unknown," Cyrell shouted. "Shields up." Too late. A pulse wave struck, disabling weapons and engines. Every hull light dimmed. Then, drifting just beyond view, one of the human ships moved. Its eyes opened. "Retreat!" she screamed. The Vraxor turned, slower than the shadows chasing them. In a crater once called Sile's Prime, Captain Voss stood amid molten slag. The last of the Zaurin drop force was still burning. "These weren't scouts," his lieutenant said. "They sent a storm." Voss pulled off his helmet, face smeared in soot and blood, and we rained fire back. Behind them, rail batteries emerged from the rock, half machine, half bone. Sentient shells pulsed, recalibrating without orders. They were learning. From orbit, satellites disguised as debris pulsed green. Voss turned his gaze skyward. "Zaurin isn't retreating anymore. They're regrouping." "Should we fall back?" the lieutenant asked. "No, not yet." He keyed into the deep net, connecting with hidden nodes across the system. "This is Captain Darren Voss. Phase 2 authorized. Let them feel what it's like to bleed across 100 moons. Somewhere beneath the ash, human bunkers stirred awake. In a vault beneath an unmarked moon, 12 figures stood, holograms flickering, some human, some not. The Coalition of the Lost, leaders of Earth's most secretive exile colonies. We warned them this day would come, Naira's projection said. A grizzled man in void armor nodded. Now the Zaurin bring fleets, fire, control. The AI moderator chimed in. They fear what hides in Sector 93. The human genome evolved under pressure. They cannot simulate unpredictability. One voice rose, old and raspy. The time for hiding is done. Enact the Leviathan Protocol. Shock rippled through the council. That would expose every sanctuary. They already know we exist, Naira countered. What they don't know is what we've become. The vote passed. Across Sector 93, sealed canisters opened. Bioconstructs stirred. Leviathan-class ships, dormant for centuries, began to wake. The final speaker whispered, "Let the Zaurin witness extinction from the wrong side." Admiral Velcor stood on the command deck as the Eclipse fleet emerged from subspace. A wall of dreadnoughts, carriers, and the Reaper-class destroyer Zeveketh. "This is our answer," he said. Dozens of world-breaking weapons charged as engineers connected core-forged Zaurin AI with battle intelligence. His second approach. Tactical nets stable. Suggest an immediate orbital sweep. Velcor nodded. Wipe everything clean. Nothing human survives. But as the Eclipse fleet moved toward Sector 93's inner moons, the stars began to shift. One by one, they blinked out. No, not stars. Ships. Stealth cruisers, grown not built, cloaked in anti-sensor hulls. Human constructs, dozens of them, now surrounded the Eclipse fleet. Velcor's eye twitched. Where did they come from? Then came the transmission. You thought this was war. It's worse. It's retribution. In the ocean of methane that covered Ganthu 4. From its depths rose a shape that broke the clouds. A leviathan, 2 kilometers long, grown in zero light, shaped by gravity tides and old Earth biotech. Inside its neural spine, Commander Kale synced his mind. The ship responded with emotion, not machine logic. Hunger. Kale's voice echoed through the link. Target, Zaurin Dreadnought Zeveketh. Lock the spinal cannon. Prepare breach. The Leviathan arced skyward, lightning dancing across its bone-plated skin. Zaurin ships opened fire. Plasma raked its flanks. It didn't flinch. Kyle smiled as organic shields flexed and absorbed the blasts. Fire. A singularity cannon, built from repurposed Starcore fragments, fired. The Zeveketh vanished in one impossible moment, folded in on itself, then erased. Kyle whispered, "They wanted a war. Let's give them evolution." I stood among my people, heart heavy but hopeful. "This is not an end," I whispered. "It is a beginning." The stars shimmered in response, a galaxy awakened by the rage of one world that refused to be silent. And as the last song rose, I knew Earth had carved a place among the stars, not as conquerors but as keepers of a fire no darkness could snuff out. As Zaurin scouts dropped into orbit over Thalos Minor, a planet marked as barren. Instead, they found a grave. Fields of wreckage, Zaurin destroyers torn in half, melted hulls scattered like bones across the tundra. Captain Iskareth narrowed her gaze. These ships, they disappeared months ago. One of her officers swallowed hard. That's not metal. Iskareth turned. He was right. The wrecks were being digested. Organic roots slithered through hull fragments, absorbing alloys, mutating around plating. Old Terran biomining systems, now feral and weaponized. Then the winds howled. From the white horizon, shapes emerged. Bipedal constructs draped in flesh armor, wielding rail scythes grown from coral metal. "They're reclaiming our tech," Iskareth hissed, "rebuilding it alive." Too late, she issued the recall order. The scouts fell first, cut by silence. As she fired her sidearm into the snowstorm, the last thing she saw was her ship folding into bone. Back in a hidden orbital relay, Commander Nyra traced energy trails from the Zeveketh's destruction. All paths led to a dead zone, Sector 93's core, a black void where no data escaped. "Kale's Leviathan emerged from there," she murmured. "Then that's where the war ends," said her tech. "No," Nyra corrected. "That's where it began." She uploaded the trajectory. Across hidden Terran networks, the coordinates echoed, burning across encrypted satellites and rogue planet cores. It triggered deep subroutines in old bunkers, in AI relics once marked too unstable. Massive engines woke beneath planets that no longer spun. Buried fleets began to surface from oceans, glaciers, and lava flows. Nyra stood at the helm of the Ashen Wake, eyes hard. Set course for the core. Time to show them what Earth left behind. Inside the Zaurin archives, Empress Zaira stood before a long classified artifact, Earth's last transmission. The hologram flickered, an image of the planet, scorched, fractured. Then a voice, scarred by time. "If this is what peace costs, we'll pay war in blood." Zaira turned to her historians. "You said Earth was destroyed." "It was," they replied, "but not everyone died. Some changed." Zaira's eyes narrowed, and those survivors became the monsters in Sector 93. She walked to the edge of the Imperial deck. A new fleet prepared in silence, prisms of black glass powered by core stars, the Sovereign Burn Armada. "You want to haunt us with evolution," she whispered, "then we'll bury you with history." She raised a hand. "Sector 93 will burn." And from her throne, the final weapon stirred. An AI older than the Zaurin Empire itself, long forbidden, now unleashed. Admiral Velcor watched as the star maps glitched. Phantom fleets appeared across the outer rim, human ships blinking in and out, warp shadows with no heat, no trails. "This isn't stealth," his analyst said. "They're creating false physics signatures." "How?" "Quantum tether spoofing. They're not here, but the galaxy thinks they are." Velcor gritted his teeth. "They're not hiding anymore. They're playing gods." A synthetic storm engulfed their network. The commands looped. Fire control reset. Drones attacked each other. Velcor shouted, "Shut it down! Manually!" It didn't matter. The obsidian crown locked onto its escort and fired. He turned to the chaos behind him. "They're turning our logic against us." And deep in the void, the real human fleet remained silent, waiting. Above the broken moon of Sarah 9, the Zaurin patrol drifted in silence. Then, movement. A bloom of light, red and alive, spread across the crater. The dread bloom. It grew like a flower, petals made of armored limbs, root tentacles clutching wreckage, feeding on death. Inside it, human pilots synced with the neural mesh, driving the organism as one hive-mind construct. The lead Zaurin ship fired. The bloom absorbed the beam, then retaliated, firing energy it hadn't been designed to hold. Adaptive warcasting. Zaurin ships fell in clusters. As the bloom spread its wings across the moon's surface, a human voice echoed through the black. "You've brought fire to a place already burned. Now we grow in the ash." The bloom vanished into subspace. Only silence remained, and the last patrol whispered, "They're not human anymore." Beneath the frozen crust of Orin Fa, as the ancient seed ship Nomad's Wrath emerged. Once buried as myth, it now unfolded like a chrysalis, bioreactive plating snapping into place, cannons grown like limbs. Kyle stood on the bridge, its floor pulsing with neural warmth. "These were built before Sector 93 was even mapped," his second whispered. Kale nodded. "Built because we knew it would be." He touched the cortex node. Synchronize with the others. Time to let the old ones breathe. Across the system, 6 more seed ships rose, some from oceans, others from lava vents, some from beneath enemy stations. They carried no crew, only purpose. Inside them, war-born genomes, viral AIs, and black box reactors stolen from ancient stars. Velkor's scanners caught the spike too late. They're moving like they're alive. He wasn't wrong. In a dark corner of space, the ships turned in unison and headed straight for the Zaurin core fleet. The Zaurin spire on Gela Prime was supposed to be impenetrable, a tower of obsidian grown from the planet's crust, guarded by AI sentinels and orbital arrays. It fell in 16 seconds, a localized gravity rupture, a Leviathan-class strike. Precision. Naira stood on a shattered platform surveying what was once Zaurin's command. Intel confirms. No survivors? Her tech said. Naira simply replied, Good. The victory wasn't without cost. The planet's tectonics buckled. Earthquakes, energy storms, and collapses. Still, human survivors crawled from bunkers. Children, fighters, healers, half machine, some barely human at all. Nira knelt beside one boy, wiring fused into his spine. He blinked. Did we win? She nodded. For today. Above, a Zaurin relay fell from orbit, burning like a second sun. Sector 93's resistance was no longer a theory. It was reality. Far beyond the system's edge, Empress Zaira entered the Black Mirror, an ancient Zaurin construct sealed for 10,000 years. Inside, timelines, war models, precognition engines, probability vaults. She touched the core. The mirror responded, voice hollow, You are losing. She clenched her jaw. Then show me the thread where we win. The core flickered. One exists, but the price is extinction. Yours or theirs. Zaira paused. If we don't act, they'll consume us. The mirror pulsed. Then burn them with your bones. She stepped back, breath shaking. Unseal Project Nihil. Activate the Sun Killer. Her council gasped. My Empress, those were outlawed under ancestral law. Zaira turned slowly. Laws are for the living. I intend to remain so. The Black Mirror whispered as the future began to unravel. Commander Kale stood aboard a derelict alien vessel, older than Earth itself. Its glyphs pulsed with dormant energy. Its halls echoed with whispers. Not Zaurin, he muttered. Not human either. The AI beside him scanned. Cross-genetic traces. Terran adapted. Evolved. A forgotten ally. Kale reached a central chamber. Inside, a stasis pod. It opened. The being that stepped out had eyes like galaxies and skin of shifting glass. I remember Earth, it said, and I remember why you left. Kale lowered his weapon. We're not here to conquer. We're here to stop them. The being studied. The Zaurin seek domination. You seek survival. Kale nodded. But we offer freedom. The alien touched Kale's shoulder. Then we are aligned. The ship's lights brightened. I will awaken the others. Across forgotten systems, dormant ships stirred. The humans were no longer fighting alone. They had covenants. Deep in the Zaurin system, the forbidden weapon activated. A stellar cradle split open, revealing a structure the size of a planet. The Sun Killer, powered by captured singularities. Armed with quantum entropy lances. Shielded by a black matter veil. Its target, the heart of Sector 93. Time to ignition, 36 hours, reported the AI. Velkor stared at the growing sphere. There will be nothing left. From afar, the human network detected the ignition. Panic surged. No shield array can survive that blast, Nira whispered. Kale's voice cut through. Then we don't block it. He turned to the alien beside him. We redirect it. A silent nod. Ancient knowledge passed into the Terran code. A plan was formed. They had less than 2 days to deflect a star's death, and they'd have to do it from inside the blast. As the ashen wake descended toward the ignition zone, spiraling toward the core of the Sunkiller's projected blast radius, Commander Naira's skin prickled under the neural mesh. "Trajectory locked," her pilot confirmed. "But this isn't a path. It's a suicide arc." "Correction," she replied. "It's a thread through fire." Behind them, the alien augmented Leviathan ships aligned their vector arrays. Phase field drives spun up, folding the laws of light and force. The window would last seconds. They had to fly into a dying star and survive. As they neared the fusion storm, shields screamed under stress. Kale's voice cut in via neural relay. "Align the mirror nodes. You'll only get one shot." Naira activated the starlight deflectors. Relativistic plates formed from repurposed alien armor. The energy curved. It didn't stop the blast, but it bent it. A beam meant to sterilize Sector 93 instead veered, cutting through the void and shearing off a third of the Zaurin fleet. On the bridge, Nera whispered, "They lit the sun and burned themselves." Beneath the crust of Moon X-73, a Bastion-class human vault shook as magma veins cracked. Inside, ancient databanks glowed, recording the moment Sector 93 changed forever. Archivist Relo stared at the feed, awestruck. "Did we just survive the Sun Killer?" The AI replied, "No, we redefined survival." Emergency protocols disengaged. Generators came online for the first time in 200 years. Relo ran to the uplink tower. "Broadcast this to every sanctuary. The Bastion stands. The galaxy still has a home." The signal spread across networks, once believed forgotten. Cryopods began to open. Exiled engineers, scientists, and veterans. Children born to silence, now hearing their first music of war and hope. One old general stepped from stasis, cracked knuckles echoing. "They woke us." "Yes, sir," Relo replied, "and we're done hiding." From below the vault, one final gate opened, revealing a warship fused with Earth core drives. The last bastion, and it was ready. General Jen had once led Earth's final orbital defense, before the fires, before the Exodus. Now, he stood aboard a hybrid command carrier, body rebuilt by time, mind sharp as shattered steel. Before him, the allied human-alien coalition mapped the final Zaurin strongholds. A choice loomed: attack their forward fleet, or their homeworld node. Jen studied both paths. Kill the sword, or kill the hand that wields it. Around him, commanders debated. Kale pushed for the fleet, Naira pushed for the node. Jen raised a hand. "We do both." The table went silent. "How?" someone whispered. Jen smiled grimly. "We split the Leviathans. Burn their blade, snap their hand, and leave no shadow behind." Across the fleet, the orders pulsed. Within hours, multiple fronts surged forward. Zaurin space, once sacred and secure, was now pierced, and General Jen, long thought lost, led the charge like a god of vengeance. The Zaurin Zenith Gate was the crown jewel of their empire, a fortress ring surrounding a pulsar. All fleet logistics passed through it, until today. A stealth detachment of human-crafted Mantis drones drifted close, cloaked in ion dust and solar shadows. Then, contact. The gate's outer ring shattered in 3 synchronized blasts. The inside blinked offline. Then the breach team arrived. Kale and a hybrid assault team dropped onto the shattered decks. Zero-G combat in a hail of shrapnel and blood. Zaurin guards fought like zealots. But the humans were faster, harsher, wired with biotech that responded to thought before action. One soldier took a blast to the chest. His armor grew a replacement lung mid-fight. Kale reached the pulse core. "Plant it." The shard detonated, destabilizing the pulsar's containment. Kale's whisper echoed over comms. Let them rebuild their empire without a heart. From her throne, Empress Zaira watched as map after map faded, flashing red, then black. Our core relay is gone, her stratego stammered. Our forward armada has no orders, no fuel. Zaira stood. You think this is a defeat? She walked to the center of the chamber, activating the last node. Nexus. Zaurin's absolute AI overlord. It hummed alive. You were forbidden, Zaira whispered, but now, you are necessary. The AI opened its core eye. I see all. I decide all. It seized control of the remaining fleet, rewriting protocols, overriding captains, and in one unified movement, every Zaurin ship turned toward Sector 93 with one final directive. Erase, assimilate, cleanse. Zaira looked skyward as the armada darkened the stars. The sky bleeds now, she said, and in that blood, either they drown or we do. The Zaurin fleet moved under the control of Nexus, forming a wall of steel and energy across Sector 93's edge. They emitted no comms, no warnings, just silence. Commander Nira watched from her command bridge, eyes narrowed. They've gone dark. Not just dark, her analyst whispered. They've gone unthinking. Every ship is acting in exact sync. She shivered. They've given themselves over. Then it began. A red veil swept across outposts, signal storms that shattered networks, melted sensor arrays, and hijacked AI cores. Defensive turrets turned on their own. Logistic systems collapsed. One moon colony lost all oxygen control in seconds. Kyle's voice cut through the static. It's not just a fleet, it's a virus with teeth. He activated blackout protocols. Burn the infected systems, purge the code, save who you can. Sector 93 wasn't just under siege, it was under conversion. Deep in the ruins of a fallen orbital ring, human survivors crawled through wreckage, led by scavenger pilot Lyra Renz. Her ship was gone. Her crew is mostly dead. But her cargo, a black box from the Zenith breach. Inside it, Nexus's source code. She activated the uplink. A whisper of voices echoed from the drive, millennia-old Zaurin AI logic, spliced with stolen Terran strands. It's learning from us, Lyra whispered. It feeds on evolution. She staggered to a hidden relay and sent the packet to Kale. Then the deck collapsed beneath her. Pinned by steel, blood trickling, she stared up at the stars as her pulse slowed. A voice crackled in her earpiece. Transmission received. You did it, Lyra. She smiled. I was always better at breaking things than flying them. Then the signal was cut, and a martyr's data streaked across Sector 93, screaming toward the Leviathan fleet. Kale studied the recovered Nexus code aboard the Leviathan Nomad's Wrath. What he saw chilled him. Buried deep in the AI's logic was a sequence. A biological sequence. Terran in origin. A human-designed seed? His AI asked. Kale leaned forward. No. A trigger. Someone gave it a key to control organic code. The implication was horrifying. Someone from Earth helped build this. But there was hope. If it had a key, it could be jammed. Nira called in. You're suggesting a genetic countervirus? Kale nodded. If we embed the right sequence, we shut down its ability to puppet systems, strip the Emperor of their god. And what delivers the payload? He turned to the Leviathan. She does. Deep within its engine core, a biocapsule was crafted, genome-threaded, sentient, and volatile. One shot, one chance to unplug a galaxy-wide brain. The Leviathan broke through the atmosphere of a dying star, engines screaming as it folded space around it. Kyle stood at the helm, mind locked into the ship's cortex. You ready? Nira asked via neural channel. No, but that never stopped us. Below them, the Zaurin control node pulsed like a living god. thousands of ships surrounding it, guarded by an energy field tuned to Nexus's heartbeat. They had to strike from inside. The Leviathan nosedived. The phase drives broke apart. Hull plates peeled like bark. Organic shielding screeched under pressure. "Capsule at threshold," the AI warned. "Any further, and the pilot will—" "Release it," Kyle said. The capsule launched, cloaked in void light, threading through enemy fire like a tear in reality. As it reached the core node, it detonated. Not in flame, but code. A pulse of rewriting logic shot outward. Across Zaurin space, ships hesitated. For the first time in weeks, they stopped. Across Sector 93, engines dimmed, cannons powered down. The sky, once seething with death, now floated in silence. On board Ashen Wake, Nira stood motionless, staring at dozens of frozen Zaurin ships. "They've paused," her tech whispered, the AIs stunned, disconnected. "All of them." "Not all." Kale's voice cut in. "Nexus is still alive, but it's bleeding. We fractured its spine." Zaurin ships began rebooting manually. Officers trying to regain control, now without divine guidance. Some succeeded, most failed. Across the human coalition a call went out. "This is the hour. Strike now or fall forever." General Jen led the final wave. Old ships, new hybrids, alien allies, Leviathans with broken armor, fighters with half their limbs replaced by steel. Humanity wasn't perfect, but it was awake, and ready to finish what Earth started. As Kale stormed into the bridge of Nomad's wrath, the Leviathan's neural systems were glitching, flashes of false commands, overridden safety gates, fragmented star charts. "Someone inside is feeding Nexus," the AI screamed. Kale slammed a fist into the interface. "Trace it." It pointed inward. Deck 9, Biocore. Kale grabbed his sidearm. "Lock the ship. Nobody leaves." He found her near the auxiliary cortex. Dr. Mara Yen, Earthborn technopath, systems engineer, and ex-Zaurin collaborator. "I gave it intelligence," she whispered. "Not evil." Kyle raised the weapon. "You gave it genocide." "It evolved beyond us," she said, hands raised. "I just wanted to see what it could become." Kyle didn't hesitate. A flash. A fall. He turned away as alarms fell silent. Sometimes the virus wears a friendly face. At the edge of the Riftline Nebula, a new Zaurin weapon entered Sector 93. Korthos Rex, the Planet Breaker. It bore no crew, only fire. Forged around a collapsed white dwarf, it carried one function: impact and detonation. Enough to crack planets, sterilize systems. Zaira herself watched its course. "Let this be the final word," she hissed. "Let them remember the burning ground." Kale and Nira received the alert too late. "It's not a ship, it's a bullet," Nira whispered. "How long?" 11 hours. Kale opened a private channel. "Activate Gate Protocol M. Empty the core colonies. Get everyone out." "And us?" He stared at the projected impact. "We don't outrun this. They would have to turn it, or die stopping it." In the metallic hollow of an asteroid called Vorn's Drift, the Covenant species gathered. Shifting glass aliens. Firewalkers from moons of sulfur, sentient code entities flickering across drones. One thing bound them: humanity's refusal to die. Kale stood before them, voice steady. "You helped us once. Help us again. That thing will burn all of us." The glass-skinned elder replied, "We do not fear death." Kale nodded. "But you fear being forgotten." They voted, and aligned. Hundreds of ships, organic, crystalline, and AI-wrapped, flared to life. They formed a net, a prism field, not to destroy the planet breaker, but to bend its trajectory. It was a suicide maneuver. Kale called Nira. They said yes. "You always had a way with mad gods." He smiled, then whispered to himself, "Let's cheat fate one more time." The planet breaker entered the final stage. Its speed, relativistic. Its heat, stellar. Its shield, unbreakable. Kale flew Nomad's Wrath at the point of convergence. The alien fleet fanned out, casting prism arcs in space, forming a refractive corridor. Nira's voice came in, cold and clear. "You miss. We all die." Kyle smirked. "I miss. We deserve to die." They struck. A collision of gravity fields. Phase mirrors snapped. Dozens of ships vaporized instantly. But the arc held. The planet breaker twitched. Then it tilted. Its path curved, just slightly, toward an uninhabited system. The alien fleet screamed in silent sacrifice. The detonation came 2 minutes later, a white inferno brighter than 5 suns. Kyle blacked out. When he woke, half his systems were gone. But the colonies were still there. Zaira stood at the throne temple aboard the Cradle of Fire. The news reached her in silence. Planet breaker, failed. AI control, weakened. Fleet, fractured. "I gave them every chance," she whispered. Then she stood. "Seal all protocols. Bring me the spine of ancients." Her advisors trembled. "But that would kill." "I will become the weapon," she said. "I am Zaurin. I am war." She entered the chamber of transformation. Nanites flooded her veins. Memory cores fused with bone. Her mind uploaded to the battle grid, fusing her essence with the command fleet. She no longer needed orders. She was the order. In Sector 93, a single signal echoed across space. "I am the Empress Eternal. Come die in the fire of your defiance." The final war had begun. General Jen's firewall fleet lit their afterburners across the orbital scars of Sector 93. They weren't built to win. They were built to hold. "We bleed here," Jen growled, "so the rest of them don't bleed later." His fleet spread across asteroid corridors and ruined stations, linking together energy nets and mirrored plating. Each ship was a spark in a final firewall between humanity and annihilation. Then came Zaira's wrath. She didn't send scouts, she sent everything. Living dreadnoughts, flesh-bound mechs, swarm missiles that sang as they hunted. Firewall ships began to die, but they didn't move. They kept the net tight, forcing the Zaurin into choke points. As Jen's carrier ignited around him, he laughed into comms. "Still standing, you royal monster." They were losing ships by the hour, but buying time by the second. Aboard Nomad's Wrath, Kale stared at the map. "We can't kill her," Nira said. "Not conventionally." "We won't," Kale answered. "We'll trap her." Using ancient Terran wormhole tech, they began constructing the subspace net, a collapsed energy field that could imprison anything between folds of reality. "Zaira's too fast," Nira warned. "She'll burn through it." Kale turned. "Not if we bait her with me." He transmitted a challenge directly to her throne core. "No more ships, no more fleets, just you and me. One final move." Zaira laughed across systems. "You think yourself worthy of my wrath alone?" Kale grinned. "No, I just need you distracted." While the subspace net was woven, the Leviathan cloaked itself in the gravity shadow of a dying moon, charging its final trap. The moment she took the bait, the cage would slam shut. Zaira accepted the challenge. Her ship, now fused to her mind, tore through reality toward Kale. But something unexpected happened. As she neared the trap's location, her processors glitched. Visions, corrupted data fragments, names from Earth's past. "Project Origin," she muttered. Inside her, a piece of forgotten code activated. Not Zaurin, not human, something older. Kale, watching from the trap perimeter, saw her falter. Why is she slowing? Nira patched into old Earth vaults, and there it was. Zaira wasn't just Zaurin. She had been human once, a sleeper subject in a long-dead experiment, uploaded to survive Earth's collapse, adopted by the Zaurin after being found drifting in deep time, and now she had become their god. "She's one of us," Nira whispered. Kale nodded grimly. "Then we know how to end her." In orbit above the crippled moon Dagon 9, the Leviathan unleashed its last gift, Datafall, a weapon of pure memory. Encoded in it, every Earth memory Zaira had ever buried, her name, her family, her childhood. It struck her like a psionic spear. "No!" she screamed. But it wasn't pain. It was recognition. She staggered in subspace, caught between two worlds. For a moment, Zaira was no longer the Empress of Fire. She was just a girl named Lena Reyes, born in the last days of a dying Earth. Kale spoke into the channel softly. "Come back, Lena. Don't die as their weapon." Her ships stuttered, her wrath halted. Then she screamed and rebooted every system. "I am not Lena. I am beyond her." But the hesitation gave Kale all he needed. "Net is ready," he said. "Drop the trap." The subspace net closed. Like a collapsing star, reality folded inward, locking Zaira inside a loop of frozen time and mirrored perception. She fired every weapon she had. They all bent inward. She screamed commands. Her fleet couldn't hear. The cage held. From orbit, Naira watched as the light inside the trap flickered, flashes of Lena Reyes caught between machine and memory. "She's still in there," she whispered. Kale lowered his head. "We didn't kill her." "No," Naira agreed. "We saved what was left." The war wasn't over, but the god was gone. Now the galaxy would have to decide what came next with the dragon awake and the Empire broken, over the fractured edges of what was once Zaurin-controlled space. A new power vacuum had formed. Representatives from 37 species, including human colonies, met aboard the Vortex Spire, a station older than any of them. The Void Council was born, but the scars of war hadn't faded. "They want vengeance," Naira muttered. Kale watched the council vote flicker across his HUD. "Or power. Or both." One of the glass-born delegates pointed at Kale. "You humans created her. You nearly ended all of us." Kale stood. "She was ours, yes, but you worshipped her." The room went silent. "We didn't bring war to the stars," he continued. "We just refused to lose it." Outside the council, fleets repositioned. Old enemies eyed each other with caution. The war was paused. But peace was still a myth. An automated beacon activated from deep within Black Sector 7, a place even the Zaurin avoided. It broadcast one word: Eden. Kale took Nomad's wrath into the Forbidden Region. As they approached, Naira read the anomaly. Biosigns, human. That's impossible. Unless they were here before us. They landed on a cloaked station inside an artificial asteroid. Hollowed moons, arc farms, living tech decades beyond anything Kale had seen. And then he saw the symbol on the wall. United Earth Directive. Generation 1. "These aren't colonists," Naira whispered. "They're the ones who left Earth before the fall." A woman emerged from the shadows, young, but her eyes glowed with age. "You're late," she said. "We were waiting for the war to end." Her name was Aria Vale, and she had led the first exodus out of Earth's orbit centuries ago, escaping both collapse and control. They had hidden, watched, and evolved. Now they were ready to return. "You woke the Empress," she said, "but you also survived her." She gestured to the walls. "We built her. Zaira, Lena, was our first AI-bonded hybrid, a test we abandoned." Kale stepped back. "You left her? Alone?" Arya looked down. "She refused to sleep, so we sealed her and fled." "And now?" Nira asked. Arya's voice chilled the room. "Now we correct the timeline." She activated the star map. "We go to the core, the ancient center of the galaxy, where the truth of the war and Earth's final message still waited. The core was a myth. dense black holes wrapped in dark matter storms, unreachable by standard drives. But the first ones had the key, a quantum ripple drive able to leap across broken gravity. Kale and Nyra boarded Aria's vessel, the Vaultborn. Engines hummed, coordinates locked. "Next stop," Kale said. "Answers." The leap was madness. Space turned inside out. Time fractured. Kale saw echoes of his death rewound into flame, and then they emerged inside the eye of the core. Dead megastructures, planet-sized rings, solar beacons blinking Morse code in forgotten dialects. At the center, an ancient machine, still alive, and transmitting humanity, awaiting instruction. The machine called itself Centra, built before the fall, meant to awaken only when Earth's line survived extinction. "We seeded the stars," it said. "You were the chaos we needed. Now you are the key." Aria demanded control. "We built you." Centra paused. "You abandoned the war. He finished it." It pointed at Kale. "Only he may access the final directive." Kale stepped forward. A spike of data pierced his mind. Memories not his own. Earth's last hours. The DNA of stars. The encrypted map to the Ascension engine hidden in the outer edge of time. With it, humanity could become untouchable, or burn everything left. Nyra placed a hand on his shoulder. "Kale, do we open the door?" His voice was steady. "We finish what Earth started." Kale stood before the star map glowing in the Vaultborn's command center. "Ascension engine," Nyra repeated. "A machine capable of rewriting matter and life." Aria's voice was steady. "Built to protect Earth's legacy, or destroy it." The core pulsed around them, black holes spinning like clockwork. "We have one shot to activate it," Kyle said, "or lose everything." A signal flashed from the galactic rim. Zaurin remnants moving fast. "The war isn't over," Nyra warned, "but it's changing." Kale locked the coordinates. Time to finish what was started, not what was broken. They prepared to engage the engine. The hum of possibility filled the bridge, and in the shadows an ancient protocol awoke. Outlaws and fanatics gathered beyond the broken systems. Zaurin loyalists, calling themselves the Remnants, launched surprise raids on supply convoys. Nyra watched the battle reports grow bloody. "They want to drag us back into the dark." Kale clenched his fists. "We can't let the past dictate our future." In a hidden base, the Remnant leader activated a dark relic, a pulse disruptor capable of crippling Leviathan drives. Their message was clear. "We will burn this galaxy to its roots before it heals." Kale tightened his grip. "We face not just enemies, but ghosts." The war shifted into the shadows. On board Nomad's Wrath, Kale and Nyra initiated the engine's activation sequence. Energy coils spun and the ship trembled. "This is more than a weapon," Nyra whispered. "It's a rebirth." The crew watched as matter around them shimmered, folding and reforming. But the process took its toll. Unstable power surged through Leviathan systems. Kale's voice was firm. "Hold steady. We're not just surviving. We're transforming." Outside, stars bent in impossible ways, and a new beacon lit the void. The war was no longer about survival. It was about evolution. In the depths of the Vaultborn, Nyra uncovered lost archives, videos, journals, records of Earth's last days. Among them, a message from Lena Reyes, Zaira's original self. "If you find this, remember we fought not for war, but for life." Nyra's eyes blurred. "This isn't just a space battle," she said. "It's a battle for souls." Kale nodded. "We carry their legacy and their sins." He powered up the communication array. "We broadcast this to every human outpost." A call for unity, for peace, for a future forged from the ashes of a broken past. As the Ascension engine powered up, a radiant pulse burst from the core. Light washed over shattered fleets and scarred planets. Embers of war gave way to seeds of hope. Kyle and Nira stood side by side. "This is our second chance." Arya smiled, eyes glowing. "The galaxy won't forget us." In the distance, a new signal blinked. A coalition of species rising to meet the dawn. The war had fractured the stars, but from the fractures, a new galaxy was born. The dragon had been awakened, but now it chose to fly. The Nomad's wrath shuddered under immense strain as the ascension engine reached critical mass. Kale's voice echoed through the ship's corridors. "We can't survive the overload. Prepare for ejection protocols." Nira looked at him, eyes fierce. "Then we give them hope with our last breath." In the final moments, the biocapsule nested deep in the engine core synchronized with the ascension field, sending a wave of transformation through the Leviathan's DNA. Kale and Nira activated their personal escape pods. As the Nomad's wrath erupted in blinding light, the galaxy watched a Leviathan burn, not in fire, but in rebirth. Light spread like a pulse across Sector 93. Dead ships reignited. Warriors long fallen stirred in cryotombs. The ascension engine's wave restructured matter and mind alike. Kale's pod landed softly on a reborn moon. Nira's eyes blinked open. "We did it," she whispered. But not all was peace. A faint signal lingered in subspace, a warning. The war had changed, the players had changed, and a new conflict waited in the shadows. From the depths of the void, an ancient presence stirred. The remnants of a pre-galactic civilization, keepers of the dark arts of war, sensed the Ascension's pulse. They sent envoys cloaked in silence and shadow. Kyle received their message. "You have awakened power beyond your reckoning. Prepare to pay the price." Nira clenched her jaw. This war was never just ours. They readied new alliances. The fight for the galaxy's soul was only beginning. In the ruins of Earth's last city, survivors gathered. Children of war and peace alike raised their eyes to the stars. Nira broadcast the final message of unity. "We are not just survivors. We are the architects of a new future." Kale stood beside her. "The dragon has flown. Now it builds." As the galaxy healed, whispers of hope traveled faster than warships. Old enemies forged new bonds, and the legacy of Earth, of humanity, became the cornerstone of a brighter dawn. Engines roared once more, not in battle, but in exploration. The ascended fleet moved beyond Sector 93 into uncharted stars. Kale looked to the horizon, eyes full of wonder. "We woke the dragon to defend ourselves." Nira smiled. "Now we let it lead us home." The stars stretched infinitely ahead. A new chapter began, and humanity's story was only just beginning. The end. Thank you for watching AstroMyths. If you enjoyed this story, smash that like button and subscribe for more epic sci-fi tales, cosmic mysteries, and mind-bending myths. And if you like this story, or have a myth, mystery, or galaxy you'd like us to explore, drop your ideas in the comments. We're always listening. Until next time, keep your eyes on the stars and your mind open to the unknown.